Hello strangers, my name is Cable, and this is General Elections in UK History. The first general election to the UK Parliament was held through a series of hustings from the 5th of July to the 28th of August 1802. This was the first general election held following the 1800 Acts of Union, which meant that the election was to represent both Great Britain and Ireland in one parliament for the first time. This election was sparked by the forceful resignation of William Pitt the Younger over the issue of Catholic emancipation, that is to say, allowing Catholics to sit in Parliament and vote, which the Act of Union had failed to incorporate in spite of removing the independent Parliament of the predominantly Catholic Ireland. William Pitt had been in favour of Catholic emancipation whilst the King was opposed, forcing his resignation. At this time there were no major political parties. Instead, two ideological creeds existed in turn divided into factions of personal loyalty towards peers or MPs. To the political left were the Whigs, rallying primarily around William Grenville and Charles James Fox, who were more in favour of parliamentary sovereignty, that is to say, giving Parliament sovereign power instead of the monarchy. To the right were the resurgent Tory party, in part led by self-proclaimed independent Whig the aforementioned William Pitt the Younger, and in part by Henry Addington. Tories were overall more pro-monarchy, but had struggled to earn the confidence of the king over the last century due to historic ties with Jacobin terrorists starting in the early 18th century. As a result of lacking the king's favour, most parliamentarians were Whigs at this time, with Pittites being associated more with moderate Whigs compared to the more radical Whiggism of Fox. Defending his new position as Prime Minister was Henry Addington of Devizes, the former Speaker of the Commons who led a Tory-Whig coalition that successfully made treaty with the French for the Treaty of Amiens early in March of 1802 to widespread approval across the country. Opposing the government, Whigs were split between two groups. More moderate opposition Whigs, the so-called New Opposition, were affiliated with the powerful House of Grenville, led in the Commons by William Wyndham of St Maurs. They ran primarily on personal grievance after the refusal of Addington to seat the Baron Grenville in his cabinet. Overall, the New Opposition's ideological grievances were fairly limited, albeit exclusively being founded on the fact that they opposed the Treaty of Amiens. Alongside the New Opposition, Charles James Fox of Westminster, a former Foreign Secretary, led a more radical Old Opposition that supported opening up voting rights and had prior to 1793 supported the French Revolution. Overall, Fox had the lion's share of the Whig opposition and was expected to retain his position of dominance on the far side of the chamber. It is worth noting that the exact alignment of MPs was not recorded at this time. As such, secondary sources are the most reliable evidence we have to go off of for seat count, and these will have changed over time. And let's get to the results. The Addingtonian faction in Parliament retained their wide majority, with around 467 of a total 658 seats. Addington was thus allowed to continue on in his role as Prime Minister with the support of the King. In second came the Old Opposition of the Foxites with an impressive showing of about 124 seats. The New Opposition came in a distant third, with Grenville-aligned politicians only around 25 seats, with remaining MPs being elected as a series of independents. I'll see you for the next one. Ta-ra!